Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tableside Talk. My name is Cam Kelly. I'm a commercial real estate broker with the Langert Commercial Group, and to my right is our principal and founder, Evan Langert.
Hi, everyone. As Cam said, I'm the founder and principal of the Langert Commercial Group. Perhaps more importantly, I'm a veteran of more than 35 years in the commercial real estate industry. So, what does that mean? That means that I've seen hundreds of deals of all types. I've had all sorts of issues come up, hurdles that we had to jump through, opportunities to come up with creative solutions to make deals happen that might not otherwise have happened. So we're doing these tableside talks so that I can take some of the knowledge, some of the experience that I've gained over all that time, and perhaps share something with you that will help you in your commercial real estate transactions. And so with that as a backdrop, Cam, what are we talking about today?
So today, Evan, we will be discussing the things that a tenant should have ready for a landlord's review if that tenant is going to be leasing space. As you know, there's a number of items, both financially related and non-financially related, that a tenant should have ready to go if they're going to lease space. And I was hoping you could discuss what those are.
Okay, sure. So the first thing I would say is if you could put your imagination hat on, if there is such thing, and pretend you're a landlord. You own a property, it's empty, or a space and it's empty, and you've got someone who's coming to you who wants to lease it. So, you bought the property so that you would get a return on investment. Rent is your source of income, so you want to make sure that that rent's coming in. So they're going to want to know your financial wherewithal. That's a very important one. If you don't have any experience in something, but you're Bill Gates, and you've got that kind of money, and you've got the character and integrity such that you're actually going to pay that money, and not sit there and fold your arms and say, I'm not paying you, come and get me, then people will probably lease it to you. If you're going to do a 3,000 square foot retail space, Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or any number of people, they could pay for that with their eyes closed. And so the landlord's going to be less concerned with operational experience or things along that line. And so what do they need to show that? Well, again, landlords are different. They're all people. Some of them will just require a personal financial statement like you would fill out if you were getting a consumer loan, or if you were buying a car. It's just got a little balance sheet on it. It's got your income. It's got your expenses. Pretty basic stuff. Other landlords want 2 or 3 years of tax returns, full tax returns. So I would be prepared. I always tell my clients, be prepared, have 2 to 3 years of tax returns ready, have a balance sheet, a current balance sheet for me, and then be ready. Some of them, increasingly now, they're also asking people to fill out credit applications. So they want to see what your credit history is. So I would have my clients ready for that, ready to fill out a personal financial statement. I've got a couple of forms that I would generate for them. So that's it on the financial wherewithal. Sometimes I want to see how much cash you have. If you have long-term assets and you have a bunch of equity in real estate and you have money that you need to spend on rent because you're behind in rent or something along that line, it's going to take you a long time to sell the commercial asset to generate the cash. So sometimes they'll want to know the cash that you have. So they might ask for bank statements showing your checking, your savings, your retirement, things along that line. But just in general, things to give them a sense of your financial wherewithal. Say, okay, these people are signing up to lease space in my project for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 3 years, whatever. How convinced am I that they're going to be able to do that? If you're more of a startup and or you don't have as much financial wherewithal, landlords often want to see a business plan. We do have people come to us that really just want to do something. They don't really have an idea what they're undertaking. Typical example would be, hi, I want to open up a restaurant. Okay, great. Tell me about it. Why do you want to open up a restaurant? Well, people tell me I'm a good cook. Unfortunately, that happens more often than you'd think, but that's not, being a good cook is important. It's great to have good food at a restaurant, but if you don't know the numbers, you don't know the expenses, sometimes you talk to these people and well, how much capital do you have for this project? Like, well, I'm thinking of one situation, I could borrow 50,000 if I had to from my relatives, or I could get 50,000 from, or $25,000 from my home equity or something along that line. Well, just to build out this space, I'm thinking of a 1,500 square foot restaurant that I did that has fairly minimal build out for a restaurant, and their build out and prices have gone up since then was $150,000. I've got someone else who's doing a 1,600 square foot space. Their build out is over $300,000. So if you got $50,000 or $25,000, it's not going to get your build out covered. The landlord's not going to pay for it, certainly not all of it. And then you've got to hire your staff. You got to get food and menus and insurance and all these other things. So landlords will also want to know, if you're newer in the business, what do you bring to the table? Have you ever operated a business like this before, or have you ever operated a business at all? If you haven't, has somebody on your team? And have you thought this through? Something that shows that you've thought this through is a business plan, a well-written, nice, detailed business plan, because that shows that this wasn't just the seat of the pants. I was at a family dinner and somebody said, "You're such a great cook. You should open up a restaurant." They thought through. They went and got a business plan, software, or whatever else package, and they put together a well thought out business plan with projections, things along that line. So you can gain the confidence of the landlord that you've got sufficient financial wherewithal, that you've thought this through, hopefully that you've got significant experience. If it's a restaurant, have you run a restaurant before? If you haven't, is somebody on your team somebody that has run a restaurant? Are you bringing in someone who's an operational partner? Are you third generation restaurant in your family, and you can call your father and your grandfather and your grandmother and who runs 5 restaurants and ask them those types of things. So landlords want to know that. They also, some of them will run not just credit checks, but they'll run criminal reports. That doesn't happen so often, but they want to know your character. If you've been at this long enough, you've seen people who, they have the money, they have the wherewithal, and things go wrong, and they owe you. They don't just turn over the check. You got to go chase them in court, which no landlord really wants to do. We're not in the business of litigation. If you're a landlord, we're in the business of collecting rents and leasing space out to people. So those are the main things that I see off the top of my head that landlords typically want. Sometimes it varies. They'll want a couple of other things, but that's it. Who's renting? Can they afford it? Do they know what they're doing? Do they have the character? If they have the money and they know what they're doing, do they have the character to try to work really, really hard to make this work if times are tough? And another aspect of that is, do they have skin in the game? I've seen people where a landlord is enthusiastic and the landlord, this doesn't happen often, they build the space out for the people. And so the people really haven't put any money into things. And when things go wrong, sometimes they're not going to really work all that hard to make things work. They'll just walk. So all those things together, in summary, are the vast majority of what I see landlords ask for. Hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I think it does.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And when we do these tableside talks, we always say every situation is different. This is general information. We would love to talk to you specifically about your situation. I was just on the phone about an hour ago with somebody who's opening up a new retail spot. But we can find out the particulars of your situation. We can help guide you in the right direction. We make ourselves easy to find, Cam and I. So just give us a call, email us, and we'll help to hopefully send you in the right direction. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.